Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Full Court Press Basketball Debate, the first edition of March 2015, March 2nd. A lot to talk about. We're going to start with yesterday, which is Sunday's games. Houston beats Cleveland in overtime after LeBron blanks on 2 free throws in overtime. Ivan Juno.
Excuse me? On 2 free throws?
On the 2 biggest free throws.
Okay, do you know how many free throws he missed?
3 out of 11. He went 3 out of 11 from the line.
He went 3 out of 11 from the line.
Your thoughts on the outcome of this game?
I think that it is pathetic to be LeBron James and not be able to make free throws.
Okay,
I am sorry.
A and B, we can push together. Your thoughts on the outcome, and how surprised were you by LeBron's choke job?
Okay, wait, what?
Your thoughts on the outcome of the game, and how surprised were you by LeBron's choke job? Because they go hand in hand. You can munch those together.
Because if he had made his free throws, they would have won.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah. I think it's pathetic. I think it's pathetic, and I'll be honest with you, and it's going to sound very mean, but if LeBron James cannot make his free throws, then they deserve to lose the game. Sorry. But that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And can we talk about how physical the game was?
Yep.
Can we talk about, I know I'm probably jumping ahead of your questions.
What, James Harden's kick?
Into the groin?
Yeah, that's the second topic. We'll talk about that separately, because I have a lot to say about that.
Okay, so I'm done with saying what I have to say.
LeBron's choke job, that's the only word for it. If you go 3 out of 11 from three-point range, it's understandable. It's a three-point shot. It's 25 feet.
Exactly.
With contested defense. Even if you go 3 out of 11 from the floor, I can understand that because you have defense all in your face. Some of the shots that you attempt are very difficult. I get it. The free throw line
is free points.
You have no defense. The only defense you have 2 forms of defense. You have your head and you have the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only, if you're on the road, which in this case Cleveland was. So LeBron was up against the 2 biggest defenses there are. The away crowd and his own head. Okay? It's a 12-foot shot. It's the first shot you learned in basketball.
And he's how tall?
Besides the layup. It doesn't matter how tall you are.
He doesn't even need to jump.
You can't jump.
Okay, he doesn't even need to...
Height has nothing to do with it.
He doesn't even need to elevate his feet.
Height has nothing to do with it. Because Yao Ming was 7'6" and shot 85%. Okay? And you got guys like Chris Paul at 6 foot even who shoot 83%. Steve Nash was 6'1" and shot 93%.
Okay, what's the percentage of Barea at the free throw line?
I have no idea what Barea's percentage is. I cannot tell you that right off the top of my head, but I can tell you that Mark Price, the greatest free throw shooter in NBA history, was 5'11" and shot 91% for his career.
Okay.
But height has nothing to do with it. Free throws are all a mindset. You have to be in tune with yourself. That's what free throws are.
I don't understand how somebody who can be like LeBron James cannot make a free throw.
Because LeBron has a history of doing this.
Well, I'm sorry.
LeBron James, need I remind anybody that LeBron James has been to not one, let me use a quote from him in Miami, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
How many has he won? Dos. And the majority of it is on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he choked at the free throw line. Or he choked on the wide open last shot. Or he lost the ball. Or he did something. It's on him. He's the leader of the team. And when something like this happens, You have no one to blame but yourself.
They lost by 2. You add his 8 points at the free throw line, they would have won the game.
Yep. It's just a shame.
By 6.
I mean, Skip Bayless said it this morning best on ESPN First Take. For those of you who watched that, we referenced this. We reference this a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a direct quote from Skip. MVPs make game-winning free throws. And it's the truth. This man's a 4-time MVP. You have to make those free throws. You're competing for home court advantage in the playoffs.
But as mad as are you done? As mad as I am at him for missing all those free throws, I am very proud of him for not going off like most guys would have done with what happened to him on the floor.
Well, let's talk about that. James Harden
3 times
received a flagrant foul for kicking LeBron below the belt.
In the groin.
Was the flagrant foul justified? Why or why not?
Well, of course it was. A man's genital area should be off limits and out of bounds no matter what. But let's go back to before that. This was a very physical game. When Ariza did what he did. And let's don't forget about when LeBron was all tangled up on the floor.
With Beverly.
And he was trying to get up. And yes, I understand that LeBron is so much heavier and bigger than Beverly. I don't think he was pushing him down to keep him down on the floor to prove a point. He was trying to get his legs untangled to find footing to be able to get up. I don't think he was pushing on Beverly's chest on purpose to hurt him. And look at what Beverly did and how he reacted. And that was good because you couldn't call a tech on Beverly without calling one on LeBron. So they did handle that part well. Papa was sitting right here having a fit over it. He said he's so much bigger than him. If he pushes down on his ribcage wrong, it could really hurt him. And I understand that, but I don't think that's what LeBron was trying to do. But when Beverly reacted the way that he did, LeBron had every right to do whatever it is he wanted to do. And he didn't. So as mad as I am at him for missing the free throws, I am going to say kudos to him, and I'm proud of him for not overreacting for the other 2 incidences that happened where people got in his face. And did you see in the 4th quarter when they were in overtime, when Harden linked arms with him and would not let him go, thinking that they were going to call LeBron, and LeBron just running backwards down the court, saying, "You see this? What happened to James Harden last night?"
Okay. James Harden.
Am I just wrong?
James Harden yesterday, and this is going to sound so stupid. Okay, and I know it sounds stupid, but I have thought about this every which way possible.
You had something to prove?
After seeing this at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Okay. I have thought about this every which way, and the only conclusion I can come up with, because LeBron and James Harden have never had any bad history with each other. The Houston Rockets and the Cleveland Cavaliers have never had any bad history with each other. So the only thing I can say is that this is about the MVP award. Harden was trying to prove to LeBron
trying to prove a point
that he is the MVP of this league, and he will not be intimidated by LeBron James. And the second part of what I just said, I commend James Harden for. Trying to prove to LeBron that you will not back down from him just because he's LeBron James, that's great. And everyone should think like that.
I understand that. But you don't shove your foot in somebody's groin to prove a point.
It's the way you go about it.
Right.
Okay. Skip Bayless wants to talk about the fact that MVPs make clutch free throws. MVPs don't kick other men in the groin.
No.
Real men don't kick.
Circumstances.
Real men don't kick other men in the groin.
And it doesn't matter if it was just a tap Or
It was.
a full-blown...
Well, this was no accident. This was no, I didn't mean to kick you there. You could see him aiming. Okay, come on.
Absolutely.
Okay? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If James Harden wants to prove he's the MVP, first of all, I'm sick and tired of hearing about how James Harden outdueled LeBron in this game because he absolutely did not. They had the same amount of points.
Right.
LeBron had one more rebound and one more assist than James Harden.
Do you know that on Yahoo, LeBron is blaming himself?
Of course, because he's the... And he should.
Right.
And he should.
Right. And did you see the second part of the quote? But it won't happen again.
Well, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Which part?
Him missing the free throws.
Or retaliating on a player that's doing dirty?
Him missing the free throws should never have happened in the first place.
Do you realize if he would have retaliated against Harden for that kick in the groin, they'd have thrown him out of the game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he's so much bigger, he's so much stronger.
But he knows better.
Well, that's why I say I'm mad at him for the free throws.
Here's the final point I'm going to make about this. Here's the final point I'm going to make about this. Okay? There are 4 guys right now. If you want to talk MVPs, okay, because in the end, that's what this is about.
Well, that was ridiculous.
Okay, like it or not, that's what this was about. There are 4 MVP candidates in the league right now, from my viewpoint. Okay, James Harden, and rightfully so. Okay, LeBron, rightfully so.
Curry.
We don't like it, but Stephen Curry.
Yes.
And rightfully so. And Russell Westbrook. Okay, 4 guys that are vying for the MVP award. Okay.
Well, I already know who I think should win.
Steph Curry, I'm sorry, no. Okay, he doesn't do anything but score. Okay. LeBron, there's just something missing right now. Okay?
He's inconsistent, too.
Okay, there's just something missing right now. Okay? That leaves Harden and Westbrook.
Yeah, and Harden made an ass of himself yesterday, so...
I don't see Russell Westbrook kicking men in the penis.
I agree. I agree.
You want to talk MVP awards?
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
He didn't even flinch when he got his cheekbone crushed in.
What do we not see here, ladies and gentlemen? Because everywhere I look,
and
I watch First Take.
And I want you to make sure that you understand that this is Yvonne saying that she thinks Russell Westbrook should get it.
I watch First Take. I watch His or Hers. I watch Mike and Mike. And I see nowhere of anyone even mentioning Russell Westbrook's name in the MVP conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is a topic that we're going to talk about, okay? So I'm going to save the brunt of this for that topic. But ladies and gentlemen, 3 triple-doubles in a row?
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time that's been done?
And look at the numbers.
Come on. Come on.
The points.
Another one of yesterday's games.
Are we done talking about it?
I am done talking about it because I don't think it has any bearing on the MVP race because I think Westbrook's the MVP, undoubtedly. And I think this further proves Houston's attitude. This is the way Houston plays.
I don't understand what happened to them yesterday.
This is the way Houston plays.
It's like the least little thing.
Ultimately,
they were ready to pick a fight.
Ultimately, it comes down to LeBron going 3 of 11. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Golden State rallies from 26 down to beat Boston. Yvonne, how surprised were you by this game? And what, if anything, does this game prove to you?
I was very surprised considering that I had Boston as my pick. And with 21 seconds left, Golden State comes back to win. Golden State didn't win that game. Boston lost that game. Big time. They gave it away. They just decided to stop playing. They just decided to stop playing. That's the only thing I can come up with. I don't know. It's like it was a whole different team. What happened? What were they at halftime?
I don't remember the score, but it was a widespread.
It was pathetic at the end. I was sitting here going, wait a minute. There's very little to say.
There's a lot to say.
No, there's very little to say about why Boston did what they did. And Golden State was right there waiting to take advantage.
There is a lot to say about this.
Okay.
Because you don't see it yet, but this has historical bearings. Okay? When you think, and I'm not far-fetching this, okay? Because I have Bill Simmons' words ringing in my head right now. I read a lot of my book today. I have his words ringing in my head right now. And we know how ultimate of a Boston Celtics fan that Bill Simmons is. Okay? So when I was seeing this yesterday, I couldn't help but think of Bill Simmons. And when I think of Bill Simmons, I think about his knowledge of basketball history. Okay? Where am I going with this? When you think of the NBA, there are 2 or 3 franchises that should immediately come to your mind. The Los Angeles Lakers, because of all of the great players that have played for them. The Chicago Bulls, because of MJ. And the Boston Celtics. For me, the Celtics is the first one that comes in my head. They've won the most titles.
And mainly because Doc Rivers was the coach for so long.
Well, not only that. Larry Bird.
Right.
Robert Parrish. Bill Russell.
They produced some names that will go down in history forever.
Paul Pierce. Kevin. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Boston has a mindset. And this started with Red Auerbach. They're extremely, extremely, probably one of the greatest NBA coaches ever. Okay? Never say die attitude. Never give up attitude. Never stop playing attitude. Has been rung in these guys' heads for 50 plus years. Since the Bill Russell era.
And I may be misquoting, I'm not sure. Because I don't know a lot about that coach. But isn't he also the one that said you play till the whistle blows?
I mean, a lot of coaches say that. John Wooden was the first one to say that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, same era.
Okay.
Okay, same era.
Yeah.
Okay, since the Bill Russell didn't win 11 rings by saying,
Right. Or giving up in the fourth quarter starts.
I've never seen, you say what you want about Kevin Garnett, I've never seen him give up. Paul Pierce, I've never seen him give up on a game.
You're not going to hear me say anything negative about Paul Pierce.
Okay. This is a Boston Celtic attitude. And the fans think this way. They're competing for a playoff spot right now. As weird as it sounds to say that Boston only has 23 wins.
Okay, so how are you justifying
Listen to this.
Okay.
Okay, let me finish.
Okay.
Boston is 2.5 games from the 8th seed in the East, even though they only have 23 wins.
Wow.
Yeah, okay? They should never,
between the East and the West.
They should never give up on a game. Whether you're winning or you're losing. It is a Boston. I know this because I'm a diehard Celtics fan. I always have been.
Everything you do in life should be that way.
Right.
You do it till the fat lady sings, till the whistle blows.
To do this,
whatever kind of expression or old adage you want to use, it's not over till it's over.
I don't care that they were up by 26. I don't care that Golden State rallied. I don't care that Boston lost this game. I care that this happened in Boston.
And with the attitude that it happened.
That stadium, with those fans, with that history, you go and pull a stunt like this, this definitely has historical bearings written all over it because I've never seen a Boston Celtics team do this before. Never.
Did you hear at the end that the crowd was so silent you could have heard a pin drop?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
They were all in shock.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't know what to say, how to act, what to do.
They've never seen anything like this.
What do you attribute it to?
This is an attitude. This is all mental. You have to tell yourself to stop playing. You don't just physically stop playing. You have to
all of them?
Yes.
All of them at the same time?
Yes, because it's a team mindset. Absolutely.
Then where's the mindset that they started the game with?
You know where I think it went wrong? At halftime. in the locker room. They were up by, what, 21 at halftime?
Well, what did the coach tell them to make them come back out and lose the game like that?
I don't know. It's not necessarily the coach. It's not the coach, necessarily. I don't blame this on Brad Stevens. Not a single bit.
No, because he's not the one out there on the floor dribbling the ball. I understand
The team
that.
goes out there, and it's their job to hold a 21-point lead. And they increased it to 26. And then midway through the third quarter,
Doc would have had a field day with this. He would have absolutely
this
hurt
has
somebody.
historical bearings written all over it, and I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed. Celtics were the first team I fell in love with in 2008. I had never fallen in love with a team. I had fallen in love with players. Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant.
And honey,
2008.
if you're going to give up, you don't give up on it when you're playing a team like Golden State because they jumped on it with both feet.
You don't give up in a city like Boston.
Okay, you don't also give up even though you're that far ahead.
You don't give up against any team.
No, but hear me out. You don't give up on any team, but you especially don't give up on a team that you're playing if they're like Dallas or Golden State. Or you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is with
You're
the
not
way
supposed to give up
with
at
the
all.
way with the way Boston was quote playing in that second half, New York could have come back and beat them. Okay, much less Golden State.
Yeah. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. Honey, if you wanted to really show how badly you gave up, that's the team to do it with because they ran all over that.
DeAndre Jordan's 26 rebounds helped the Clippers beat the Bulls. Question A. What won this game for the Clippers, Yvonne?
Well, that didn't hurt.
What, in your mind, won this game
That
for
for
the Clippers?
sure didn't hurt. I don't like him. I think he's got an attitude, and I think he's a bully. But let's be perfectly honest. He is the king of rebounding right now.
Right now, yeah, no, he can't be.
He
can't be touched.
is the king.
I mean, when you're
of
averaging
rebounding
14
right
a
now.
game, yeah, I would call you a king.
I mean, honest to God.
And he should have been an all-star.
He's the king of rebounding right, and I don't like him.
And there's nobody close
And
to
I
him.
don't like his attitude.
There's nobody close to him right now.
And I think he's a bully on the court sometimes. But honey, you can't beat him for rebounding. You absolutely
Nobody can
cannot.
touch him right now.
No. No. That helped tremendously.
You ready?
Trust me. Chris Paul helped too.
Hold on to your seat.
Chris Paul helped.
Hold on to your seat.
I'm holding.
Chris Paul won this game for the Clippers. I have scrutinized. I have crucified Chris Paul. I've raked him over the coals on this show.
Say it again. Say it again.
No, I'm going to justify myself.
Okay? He earned it.
I have raked him over the coals time and time and time again for not showing up in big games, in situational opportunities. And he did. 28 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals.
Now, don't get me wrong. As much as I love Chris, and I'm agreeing with you 100%, but it didn't hurt that Butler's out with his hand. Derrick Rose had surgery.
But wait! That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Okay, wait. So, I'm going to say it for you. Let me see if I'm going to say what you were getting ready to say. With Blake out, he had to do it.
No. No.
But with Blake out, somebody had to score.
Yeah, but to me,
Chris did his job.
This had nothing to do with Blake
Chris
Griffin
did his
at all.
job.
This had everything to do with the fact that Chris Paul, because in the first quarter, he was
Mediocre.
He was all right.
Yeah.
Something happened in the second quarter, and he just turned it on. You know what happened? He was sitting on that bench, getting his rest on, and he looked at the other sideline. If I know Chris Paul, like I think I know Chris Paul, like I hope I know Chris Paul from over the past 8 to 10 years, he looked at that sideline and said, hold up.
Right.
D-Rose ain't playing.
Right. Butler's not playing.
Who the hell is guarding me?
Right.
Oh, Aaron Brooks. Well, let me take him to school.
Right.
Now I have a question. Where's that been? Because Blake Griffin or no Blake Griffin, Chris Paul can do this every game.
I agree.
Does he have to? No. Could he? Oh, yeah, he could. Against any point guard in the league.
I've always agreed with you about that. Where we differ, we're going to have this same argument till the end of time. Where we differ, I know that. I know he can do it against anybody. I know that he should do it against anybody. But where we differ is the fact that he's probably being told, Blake is the one who's supposed to be making the points. You're supposed to be setting it up so that Blake can do it.
As a number one scoring option, yes. But
because that is the job of the point guard.
In certain situations.
Unless you're Chris Paul.
No. No, ma'am.
Okay.
If he was against Derrick Rose in this game, I would say, you know what? Find a different option. Because I know how good Derrick Rose is. Especially defensively.
That remind me to tell you something that Chris Paul said about Derrick Rose.
Especially against Derrick Rose.
Okay.
Defensively. I would say, you know what? Give it to Jamal Crawford. Give it to J.J. Redick. Find somebody else. But in this situation, this opportunity against Aaron Brooks, and this is not a knock on Aaron Brooks because he's a good point guard.
But he's no Chris Paul.
But Chris Paul is elite. You have to do this when the opportunity arises.
Presents itself. I agree with you.
Blake or no Blake?
Oh, now you see, that's where we differ. Because, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't do it. I'm saying, I'm thinking that he's being told not to do it.
By whom?
By Blake and the coach.
You think Chris Paul's actually going to listen to Blake Griffin? Who's the leader of that team? Be honest with yourself. Okay, he don't listen to nobody but Doc Rivers. Okay? Now you tell me this. Do you honestly, for 1 second, who would you say is the best defensive big man in the league right now?
Oh my gosh.
Give me a name. Defensive.
I don't know. You're catching me off guard.
Would you not say it's Dwight Howard? Would you not say it's possibly...
Not right now.
Okay. Possibly, see, Pau Gasol's pretty good defensively.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody like that. Okay. Tyson Chandler.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If Blake Griffin was being guarded by Tyson Chandler, do you, honest to God, think that Doc Rivers would tell Chris Paul, hey man, I know Tyson Chandler is guarding Blake Griffin, but you got to go to him? I don't think so. Doc Rivers being a former point guard in his own right?
Okay.
I don't think so. And for what? To lose a game?
Okay, so logically speaking, because we saw Chris Paul be a Hornet, okay? We saw Chris Paul as a Pelican. We saw Chris Paul as a Clipper. Okay, why is he not doing it in every game?
Because it's his mindset.
That he thinks he needs to pass it off to Blake.
Yes, he does. And I get that Blake Griffin is good. Blake Griffin is great.
Because he's trying not to step on anybody's toes?
I don't know.
Well, whatever
But
it
he
is
shouldn't be worried about that.
Well, and I agree with you. We agree 150% on that.
Come on.
I don't remember what I was saying.
We agree 150% on that.
We agree 150%.
Or I'm going to give you an even better example. And before we move on, this is the last thing I'm going to say.
We keep having the same debate over and over again.
And this is not far-fetched. Okay, you ready for this? Come playoff time. The Clippers against Portland. Because that's not far-fetched. That is a very likely matchup in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, am I right so far?
Yeah.
Okay, they're right next to each other in the standings. Okay? Say the Clippers get that home court advantage. Okay? 4-5. Because that's where it's headed right now. Okay? Game 7. Series is tied 3-3. Okay? You got Chris Paul and Blake Griffin versus Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge. Ultimately, that's what the series is going to come down to, correct? The two elite star players on each team.
Chris going to have to take over.
2 minutes to play. Clippers are down by 2.
You pass the ball to Chris.
What? Not even 2 minutes. No. 10 seconds.
You give the ball to Chris.
10 seconds. Timeout Clippers. In the huddle is Doc Rivers telling Chris Paul, all right, let's set up a play for Blake.
No.
Against LaMarcus Aldridge.
No.
No. He's saying Blake and DeAndre come up to the top, set a double screen for Chris Paul. Free him up so Chris can take the shot.
Right. Because I tell you what, turn it around, they're going to set it up to where maybe Lillard could take the shot.
That's right.
Because if the shoe's on the other
what they're going to do...
And I'll be honest with you, and please, people don't get mad at me, but I think Aldridge is better than Blake Griffin any day. Anyway.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it.
So there would be no contest.
Two best power forwards in the game right now are Anthony Davis and LaMarcus Aldridge. Okay, there's no question about it.
I agree.
Okay. The point is, as good as Damian Lillard is offensively, he is somewhat of a liability defensively. That is not saying that I don't like Damian Lillard.
No, he's awesome.
Damian Lillard.
Yes, but there's no competition.
But give me a 7-game series and I'm taking Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And then
so you don't
show
think
me.
It's Doc, and you don't think it's Blake putting pressure on him. You think that he's doing this and he's got it stuck in his head that he doesn't want to step on anybody's toes and that he needs to pass the ball off to Blake.
And I know that's because he's the ultimate teammate. I get it. I get it.
But it's not winning them games.
It's not.
No.
You know what their record is since Blake Griffin went out?
Oh, I know. I know.
Do you really want me to say that?
Go ahead.
7-1. Okay, if that doesn't show you something there,
they're playing better without Blake than with
you're blind.
Right.
And this is not directed toward you. This is directed to people out there.
I understand.
If you're not seeing this, you're blind.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
And I mean, DeAndre Jordan, he had 9 points yesterday. 9. 26 rebounds. That is the most lopsided stat line I've ever seen.
Because that's what he's a perfectionist at. That's what he.
And he knows he can't be stopped. Chris Paul can't be stopped. He proved it yesterday.
It was a beautiful thing to see.
Which team, in your opinion, is more dangerous going forward into the playoffs? The Clippers or the Bulls, and why?
Is that taking into account that everybody's back?
Well, Rose and Butler will be back come playoff time. Playoffs start in 7 weeks. They're both scheduled to come back
Blake
3 and 5 weeks. And Blake Griffin's going to be back as well.
So everybody's going to be back.
This is come playoff time. Which team is more dangerous in your opinion?
I don't know, but I want to see that game.
Well, it won't be a game unless it happens in the finals. Because it's East and West.
I know, but if it does, I want to see that game.
Oh, it'd be a hell of a final.
Honey, it's going to be some kind of game.
It'd be a hell of a final.
and this leads me, before I give you an answer, they asked Chris Paul what he thought about the fact that Derrick Rose had the same meniscus.
Which we'll talk
had
about.
another meniscus. Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No. Keep going.
Anyway, but it was very minuscule. And it took less than 15 minutes.
Thank God.
No, I heard the lowdown on it.
I know, me too.
It took less than 15 minutes. Okay? And that same afternoon, he walked into the gym with no crutches, no nothing, with just a little bit of a limp. And the next morning, he was already in physical therapy and doing rehab.
I love it.
Okay? And Chris Paul said, wow. He said, same leg, re-injured it. He said, I don't know. He said, quote, I've only played him on the floor a few times. Not really anything that I could base a long-term opinion about. He said, but if ever we meet, he said, it's going to be tough and it's going to be interesting.
And that's a compliment more to Chris Paul than it is to Derrick Rose to me. Because that's the type of person Chris Paul is.
Right. But that goes to show that he knows how much of a threat Derrick Rose is
so,
at 100%.
Who would you pick?
I don't know.
And why?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably Chicago. And I'll tell you why. Because you'd have Rose and Butler back. And you got Jordan for the rebounding.
No, Jordan plays for the Clippers.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well then that makes it even more difficult to pick.
Comes down to one thing for me. The Chris Paul, Derrick Rose matchup, you give me one game, I'm going to pick Derrick Rose. Okay? You give me 7 games, I'm going to pick Chris Paul. It comes down...
If Chris decides to take over and win the game.
Fact that, I'm sorry, Blake Griffin ain't going to stop Pau Gasol.
No, that's true. I forgot about that.
And the benches are lopsided. Okay? Clippers have a good bench. Jamal Crawford, Austin Rivers, who, by the way, is doing a very good job in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he had 28 points 2 games ago.
Glenn Davis, Hedo Turkoglu. You got a good bench in Los Angeles. But you know what? Chicago... I mean, come on. And the coaching is so even. Doc Rivers and Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau was an assistant under Doc Rivers.
Under Doc Rivers.
In Boston.
You saw him hug yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Okay, come on. This would be so even. This would be such a good final. I'd have to pick Chicago. I would have to. That would be interesting.
That would be a game
I have been waiting to talk about this since I typed this up last night. San Antonio destroys Phoenix 101-74 on Saturday night. Yvonne, what does this game, if anything, does this game show you?
It shows me several things. It shows me that San Antonio is nothing to sneeze at, and they're not just a bunch of old men worried about father time. And it also shows me that Phoenix is not all that in a bag of chips. Okay? San Antonio, come on. 30 points?
27, yeah, pretty close.
Wait, it was 74 to 104.
101-74.
101-74. Okay, almost 30 points.
27.
Okay. And it was on Phoenix's court. Add insult to injury. Add insult to injury.
Yep.
Okay? I mean, what's it supposed to tell me? That Phoenix is not as great as everybody has portrayed. Well, you know what it is.
Well, we knew that when they got rid of Dragic and Isaiah Thomas.
Right.
That's when that started.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. We watched Dragic the other night when we were in New Orleans. I mean, really? And Isaiah Thomas, all you have to do is say his name.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, let's be perfectly honest here. On your own home court, you're going to lose by 27.
All right, what does this game show you? You're right about everything. Okay.
Also, before you chime in and start unloading, when's the last time they came up against a team like this?
I have been hearing for almost a month now that the San Antonio Spurs won't repeat.
Right.
That the San Antonio Spurs are not the same Spurs as last year. That the San Antonio Spurs have lost their edge in the Western Conference. Okay, I'm going to ask you something. We've been keeping track of basketball since 2007. Okay, when the Celtics...
Yeah.
Okay, and the Spurs were dominant, and San Antonio has had the same core group of guys for 15 years now. Okay?
Yeah.
And especially in last year's finals against LeBron and the Heat.
Right.
What would you say that San Antonio is based around, their playing style? Would you say it's more on offense or defense?
I think they're pretty even, but they're awesome at defense.
Okay. Their ball movement.
Yes.
Okay. But you hit the nail on the head. Their defense.
Their defense.
Let me give you some stats.
Because let's be perfectly honest, not to interrupt you, but you know, you can make points on your end of the court, but if you can't defend on the opposite end of the court, they're going to make their points too.
San Antonio shot only 45% in this game and a miserable 4 of 19 from three-point range. But they're not a three-point shooting team outside of Danny Green and Patty Mills and Marco Bellinelli. We know this. Okay? They shot only 45%. But they held Phoenix to 29%. Okay? San Antonio had 56 rebounds to Phoenix's 42. But let me give you something even more dramatic than that. 46 of those 56 rebounds were defensive rebounds. San Antonio had more defensive rebounds in this game than Phoenix had total rebounds.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay.
I bet if you take it one step further, not to interrupt you, Chris, but I bet if you take it one step further and you look at the team players and you look at their stats and you look at their scores and the points they put up, I bet San Antonio had 4, 5, or 6 people that had double digits in scoring.
Kawhi Leonard. Danny Green. Boris Diaw.
Okay.
Aaron Baines.
Just 4? I'm surprised. Tony Parker? Everyone
on the San Antonio roster except Jeff Ayers scored in this game.
Well, there you go.
Everyone.
How many points did Tim and Tony have?
Well, let's start with the fact that they both only played 20 minutes. Okay? They had 12 points combined, but they only played 20 minutes. Manu Ginobili only played 15 minutes.
Why?
They're resting them. I mean, they were winning by big time from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They were up 11 after 1, plus 16. They're up 25 at the half.
Well, then come on. Then why make them work so hard?
My point about this is that San Antonio has not lost anything from last year. Give me a break. And it's not you that's been saying it. It's been the people that be like, oh, San Antonio's not going to repeat. Excuse me?
We both agreed when the season started that we thought they were going to be repeats.
I don't want to hear it.
Even though Tim Duncan is 92 years old.
Well, 93 now. We've progressed a year. He's 93 now. I love Tim. The Knicks shock their own home fans by beating Toronto. Here's an interesting question, Yvonne. Which team did this game show more about, and why? Think about this one carefully before you answer it.
I got it wrong.
Because you're stepping on toes a lot when you talk about the Knicks these days. Okay?
I got it wrong. I had picked Toronto.
Of course we did. Because we're logical, right?
Right.
Which team did this game show more about, and why?
I don't know because I didn't watch it. Because I was so sure
Well,
Toronto
just the result of this game should show you.
How many points did Carmelo have?
Carmelo's out for the season.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my God. That sheds a whole new light on it. I forgot about that.
Doesn't it?
Oh, that means the Knicks wanted it bad. They must have played very well as a unified team if they played without Carmelo and still beat Toronto. Either that or Toronto went over there to New York and decided...
Bingo!
They went over there thinking, oh, man, this is a walk in the park. This is an easy...
Bingo!
We don't even have to try.
Thank you. Thank you. Bingo!
So between New York playing as a unified team and Toronto thinking it was going to be a walk in the park, it was, guess what? Surprise, surprise.
Well, Toronto should have realized something when they had 15 points at the end of the first quarter. Okay? 15. Okay? Toronto should have realized something when they were 8 of 29 from three-point range.
Wow.
Okay? And they should have realized something when they let the Knicks shoot 38 free throws. 38!
My God.
And the Knicks hit...
Who did they foul the most?
And the Knicks hit 30 of them.
30 out of 38? Who'd they keep fouling?
Good question. Bargnani was 6 out of 7. Amundsen was 3 out of 6. Early was 5 out of 6. Hardaway was 4 out of 7. Aldridge was 5 out of 5. Thomas was 5 out of 5.
They did not.
Shved was 5 out of 5.
They did not keep fouling LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
I mean, who did you just say?
Hardaway, Thomas, Amundsen, Bargnani. I mean, Shved went 5 out of 5.
That's who I meant to say.
I mean, come on. 30 out of 38?
30 out of 38.
Yeah, that's going to win you a game.
Yeah.
I don't care who you face.
You think?
So this game showed more about Toronto than the Knicks.
Yeah. It showed that their conceit lost them a game.
That's exactly right.
Their conceit lost them a game.
That's exactly
big time.
right. So, question B. Are you a Toronto believer come playoff time? Why or why not?
What do you mean by that?
Do you believe that Toronto could make a solid run for the championship? Why or why not?
Not with this attitude.
Good answer.
Not with that attitude.
Good answer.
Depending on who they're playing and depending on if they get their heads out of their butts.
Good answer.
Not with that attitude.
Because let me tell you something.
You don't get so... Hey, on any given day, any given time, anybody can win.
Because if the playoffs started today, okay, Toronto as the 2 seed would play the 7 seed, okay? The problem with them playing the 7 seed is that the 7 seed is the Miami Heat. Go ahead and underestimate Dwayne Wade.
Underestimate them.
Go
and
ahead.
See what happens.
I dare you.
Right.
Because Dwayne Wade has won more playoff series for the Miami Heat than I can count. Why? Because he was underestimated. Because, oh, Wade can't beat us. We're a team.
Right.
Oh, yeah? Let me take a quote from Bruno Mars. Don't believe me? Just watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
This tells me so. I am very proud of New York. I don't know all their stats. But with what you just told me, it tells me completely and perfectly that Toronto went over there thinking this is going to be an easy win.
But I'm also going to say this.
This is going to be an easy win. We don't even have to really try. Watch that.
But Yvonne, I'm also going to say this. Without Carmelo Anthony, does this not show that the Knicks are headed in the right direction?
Absolutely. But let me turn tables on you, Chris. Do you think they would have underestimated them like this if Carmelo had been playing?
Yes, I do.
No. I
do.
don't think they would have
I do, because they would have looked at Carmelo and they would have said, okay, if we can stop Carmelo, we can beat the Knicks. And this game proves that that's not entirely true.
No, I agree, but I don't think that they would have thought it would have been as easy.
Well, maybe not, but they still would have underestimated
Carmelo
them.
On the floor.
They still would have underestimated.
Well, then their heads are much too big.
Am I a Toronto believer come playoff time? Again, as Yvonne said, not with that attitude. But if, say Toronto's heads are clear, it's playoff time, it's a new season, yeah, I believe that Toronto could make a run. Do I think that, because I think they're going to wind up, I think they're going to end up getting home court. I think they're going to be somewhere between 2 and 4. I think Atlanta's pretty much got the number 1 seed locked up, okay? But Toronto, Chicago, and Cleveland, 2, 3, and 4, are all within 2.5 games of each other. So they're going to wind up somewhere in that 2, 3, or 4 spot. Regardless, they're going to have home court.
I don't see them as a 2 either. I think 3 or 4.
I would say 3 or 4 with the way they're going, because I think Cleveland's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I think Chicago is always very dangerous.
Well, and they'll be even more dangerous when Butler and Rose come back.
I am a believer, okay? I do believe that they could get past Miami. I do believe that they could get past Milwaukee, though they'd be tested, okay? But their attitude's got to be right.
Not with this attitude.
They're young.
Not with this attitude.
Part 1 ends here. Part 2 coming at you next.